this segment out as I call it giving roses, right? I don't actually have roses with me.
Are we on The Bachelor? Will I have to accept a rose?
You can accept my words. How about that?
Got it.
Okay, so I do want to say a couple of things. I'm sure Cricket knows what I'm about to say. Is seriously, thank you all so much for what you've done throughout your careers. Um, whether you were acting even before you got these roles, whether during, obviously, afterwards, doesn't matter. Like I know how much sacrifices that you probably have made over the course of your many years.
You're being really generous to us right now.
I know, but I just want to give them flowers. It's truly beautiful to see what you all have done and really revolutionized and trailblazed for the industry and really paved the way for so many to follow. And especially on social media, and we spoke about that, the impact of social media and like where Avatar, Korra, you name it.
These girls are very good at social media.
You all are in my
I learned.
eyes.
I'm seriously.
I know we copy them.
So I just wanted to say thank you, and thank you for making our childhoods bearable, and we all really appreciate it. So round of applause, everyone. So on that note, I want to get into this right away. Did you guys imagine, did you really see that this show, whether Avatar, The Last Airbender, Korra especially, would become not just iconic, but timeless? Did you really envision that?
Well, Olivia obviously did a lot. Just messing with her. Olivia is a trooper. Her voice is a little bit gone, and she is making it through the weekend amazingly. So if you have extra cough drops, feel free. We can use them.
Drop them by.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. It's tricky in here. No is the answer. None of us know. I think many actors don't really know when you're in the middle of making a project that it's, how well it's going to be received. You kind of just have to put your best work into it, put your heart into it, and then release it into the wild, and then you have to move on to the next project. If you get too attached to an audition or a character, it can make it hard to, I guess, move on to the next thing. So I feel like you show up and give your 100%, and then you're like, okay, goodbye, and then you move on to the next thing. I had no idea that Avatar was super big until kind of 2020, whenever people rewatched it again on Netflix. I knew that people watched it, I knew that people liked it, but I didn't really know the scope until like the fan pages on Instagram and like Reddit, subreddits of just all these theories and shipping, breakdowns, all these things. So I had no idea how big it was until a few years ago.
I did only because I loved the first series, and the first series obviously existed. So I knew, but that was before there weren't as many cons. So there wasn't as much opportunity to have the one-on-one and like to really talk to people and like celebrate the shows. But when I went in for my first recording, the casting, like the head of casting at Nickelodeon, like took me by the shoulders and gazed into my eyes and said, "Are you ready for your life to change?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've heard that before." She was dead right. Shout out to Sarah Noonan.
That did not happen with me.
You guys paved the way.
I don't think that happened at the original series.
So piggybacking off that, right? When you look back at the characters that you helped bring to life, really, you did. Like the way I see it is, you have the artists and the animators that create the vision. You are the ones that bring it off the page, right? And all of you beautifully did that. So when you think about yourself personally, especially if you were younger, however, like 12, however it may have been, right? Looking back then to looking back now, did you see yourself in those characters by any chance?
I would say it's hard to know. Like looking back at it now, it's interesting because a lot of the times when people cast you in a part, there either is something about your acting, but maybe sometimes not. Maybe it's about your essence and what you bring to that role. And so at the time, I was just really hoping that I was doing a good job delivering whatever the storyline was or delivering what the character was trying to put out there. Now I see it more. But at the time I was like, I hope I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, same. I was like,
Call her did I don't know. She does those splits and she's kind of sassy.
yeah, that is
You know.
Well,
Well, Suki also was, I think, a guest character, and then because people liked her so much, and like you so much, they ended up making Suki be more present in the show. So I think that is very much a testament to Miss Jennie Kwan here. Sorry, you were about to say
No, I
something.
was just
Cricket.
gonna say the whole time I was like, this, I sound horrible. This is dumb. I sound like sandpaper. Why would they want this character? Because I had no context. I sounded like May, but I was like, why would they want this? Of course, what do I know? This stupid actor, you know. So Andrea Romano clearly is brilliant. She was the orchestral, you know, conductor. I was just a violin or a flute or whatever, and I just should have just done that, and I did. But looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I did do that right, but I just was too insecure and anxious to, you know, to just accept that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
I don't know, I was just going to say, I feel like, yes. I mean, I was 12 and 13 when I voiced Toph. So, yes, I felt very similarly to being a 12 and 13-year-old at the time. And just, I emulated a lot of, like, the tomboy, kind of sassy energy that is already present in my life. I turned down, like, the girly parts, though, because I do love shopping. I like, you know, feeling really pretty, going out and dancing. Toph does not necessarily like those things, so we turned those parts down. But yeah, I feel similar to my character. Do you feel like Korra?
I feel like, well, what I could connect with was using sarcasm to hide being insecure, for sure. And definitely feeling like if I wasn't good at something the first time I tried it, like there was something wrong with me and I should never do it again, and it was none of my business to do something. And I don't know nobody placed those expectations on me. Like, at least we could point to Korra and say, well, she was told she was the Avatar, she could do all these things, like, so she was so hard on herself about airbending. But sometimes it's not like it doesn't come from our parents or something. I don't know. Sometimes there's something innate that's like I'm a failure. But yeah, you know, there are also. I mean, I don't. She was maybe a little saucier than I was when I was a teenager. I was not mad at everyone all the time.
Everyone, give a round of applause. Seriously. Love it, love it. Okay, so jumping on that for a second, right? So I know, and so many of us know, that Avatar and Korra feature rich cultural influences from across Asia and the indigenous world. How important do you think that cultural respect was to its overall success?
I'm gonna hand this to the one Asian person.
You know, I mean, again, I will just say this. When I started out acting, I'm going to tell you, my maiden name is Fernando, okay? So when I started when I was 11, people did not associate this with a Fernando. And I started acting when I was in the 80s. So that's how old, I'm kind of telling you guys how old I am. So this is I'll get to the point. So my agent when I was 11 opened a book and went like, oh, there's too many Kwan, there's your name. And that's how that was born. Yeah. And so, yeah, and yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when I got Avatar, it was pretty cool, you know what I mean? And honestly, like, I've done other shows and I've been cast not because I was Asian. Jennie just told me the other day she's the first Asian to have a series regular role on TV.
Round of applause.
I don't know. My friends tell me that. I have no idea. I don't know. But, you know, I've been cast as parts not for only being Asian, for being Asian. And so when Avatar came, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And I didn't really think about it. And then when the series came out later and they started casting Asian people, I think it's the amount of people that come up to me and say how important it is to them that it really reflects it back to me. Because when I was doing TV, and I'm very honest about this, I didn't want to be different. I didn't want to stand out. I just wanted to be a part of and belong someplace. And now, because of people in this generation, they're like, no, we're doing this and we want, this is important. I'm like, I see that, and now it does matter, Not that it didn't before, it's just I wasn't as brave as people are today. Yeah, I think there's a place for everybody, but it does feel pretty cool.
Round of applause, everyone.
I think it's kind of cool too. I mean, Mike and Brian, is this on? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear us? Okay, because I can hear them speak, but I can't hear me. Anyway, okay, good. Mike and Brian spent an insane amount of time creating the groundwork of this show. Like they traveled to many places, they talked to many instructors of martial arts, and so there's a deep spirituality to the show that I think is also very significant in Asian culture. And so that root is so palpable and different from everything else on television. And it's something that I gravitate towards, and I had so many Asian friends in college who then weirdly lots of things from the show overlapped with cultural things that they had growing up, and I was like, this is so cool. So it was very educational at the same time too, for just a different way of thinking. In my opinion, maybe a nicer way of thinking. Different priority list than maybe you're used to seeing in a lot of shows. It's just cool. Mike and Brian love culture. They did a lot of homework, so they're great.
That's awesome. All right. So jumping into our next segment, it's actually very, very important. It's bridging mental health and social media when it comes to
cricket.
So cricket.
Yes.
When we talk about mental health, because actually that's very important, right? Especially with actors or even those that are not in the acting world, health is wealth, right?
Yeah.
But mentals is where it's at. So on that note, I'd love to pick your brain about mental health, the importance of it, and any words of wisdom you'd love to share.
Oh my Lord, I would need a whole hour. Yeah, okay, so mental health itself, people forget about it. We go to the doctor, right? Some people do. I do. And you get your checkup, you go to the dentist, but nobody goes to their mind. That's the very last thing people think about. And I'm always like, that's so weird. And even growing up, my mom would be like, use your words, let's communicate. There were little moments of where you talk about your feelings, but we didn't use the word therapy. We didn't really, it just wasn't part of our upbringing in the 80s. And it's okay, I turned out fine, but that would have been cool, to be like, hey, I need a mediator, or my sister's doing this and I want to talk about it. That just kind of wasn't in the dialogue. And now it is. So yeah, I think you should go to the doctor, but I teach my clients or people I'm around that it is equally or more important to get a checkup by a mental health professional. And you can do it just as seldom. That's the thing. You don't have to go every week. You can just be like, cool, peace. I just want to check out every quarter. Check out how I'm doing. What's my balance like? What's my work like? What's my marriage like? And then you go a few times and you chill. It doesn't have to be some crazy, commitment. So I would say it should be seen just like the medical model. Whether you're an actor, I do think there's a whole thing for performers because we get rejected, right? There's a whole other thing that bankers who go to, finance school, they're not really feeling that. They know what they have and they go get a job in banking or in finance. And we just don't. So there is an element to dancers and performers. There's an entire model that should be working for them that's different than other folks, let's say. But it's still really important.
That's awesome. Round of applause, everyone. Seriously. All right. So quickly, social media, right? Now we know social media can be one of the greatest tools, but also one of the harshest tools as well. So when we think about either in the pop culture fandom realm, or even how it plays a role into social media and, not just being viewed for the characters you play, but more so as a person. I'd love to pick your minds definitely, and Michaela, we'll start with you.
Hit me. Okay, what's up?
So on that note, when it comes to social media, how important is that for you as a whole?
It's a love-hate relationship. it's tough. It feels like in Los Angeles specifically, it's very important. It's such a part of the culture there. That's where just YouTube feels centered almost. And that's where a lot of animation specifically is focused. So a ton of just animated content or animators or voice actors are based in Los Angeles and are posting a lot. So it feels like you kind of have to be all in or all out. That's not the case. You can do whatever you want. Just like going to, but it feels like you have to make a choice where you're like online or you're like, oh, I just don't do social media. So the pressure is again coming from me. No one's sitting, really taking notes on what you do with your social media. But I do think it's kind of important. I know lots of friends where once you do grow a decent amount of following, you even just come up on somebody's search in somebody's For You page, and then that leads them to click on your profile, and then they find your website, and then they send you an audition, and so it's like it can help, which is why I do it, and I'm not great at it, but I'm.
Come on.
But I'm not.
Yes, you're constantly doing new things.
I'm friends with
You're a legend on there.
real influencers though who have like 5 million followers. So I'm like, bro, it's crazy watching them work.
I wanted to do a video and I accidentally pressed live. That's how, and I was like, oh, I think it's live now. Oh,
Lives are great.
And I'm in my car at the gym, like I looked horrible, but I was like, well, oh, it's already live. Like, guess I'll just keep going.
It's a lot. Well, it's also constantly changing. I have to I think this is going to be the rest of my life. I constantly have to psych myself out because I keep being like, I've been doing this for too long. Like, I'm out of it. And I'm like, no, we have to keep learning. You just have to go with the flow. Just take the change and learn. I'm like, oh, there's this new editing thing, or why did they change the layout again? Like, why? And then I'm like, we just have to be okay with it, because if you start getting stuck in the old way of things, that is how you lose the young people.
Young people.
I have to keep up with the young. Yes, there's like 17-year-olds who are like, they're like, oh, I'm so scared to be 24, and I'm like, what? you just wait, my friend. You're scared to be 24. You're gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. So yeah, social media is important, but yeah, love your relationship.
That's a healthy way of looking at it.
Yeah. Mental health is important too. I try, if anytime I start to feel like too low, I realize I've probably consumed too much as opposed to outputted. So anytime you're consuming more than you're outputting, I feel like that's when the balance can get thrown off.
And I think just check in with yourself. Like, don't put someone else's parameters on your relationship to social media. Like, you know yourself. You know what makes you feel like crap. And if you keep going back to that scroll, like, take care of yourself. It's basically putting those two things you just brought up together, right? It's mental health and social media. It's like, if you know that you always feel a little worse when you've been on Instagram too long, or YouTube too long, or TikTok too long, like, you have to check in with that. It doesn't matter if someone thinks you're not on there enough. Like, we cannot live our lives like that. We just can't. So, but everybody has a different tolerance, and like everyone has a different relationship. So, but I think it would be better if we understood ourselves in that way and took care of ourselves.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. Round of applause. Seriously, that was amazing. All right, so we have a game that I have planned for all of you. Some of you know about it, some of you do not, so I'm excited to share it. Basically, there's a lesson in this, so yeah, it'll be fun.
Oh boy, Boris.
I am ready.
I feel like I'm in like middle school doing a project right now.
So it's gonna be 1 minute on the time clock for you guys. We want you to draw your characters from the best of your abilities without looking at your phones, and we'll let the audience judge who did it the best. And there's a lesson. So, ready? Yes. Ready, set, go. All right, we are officially 10 seconds in. We should have the Jeopardy theme song. I think that'd be great. All right, 25 seconds in. No pressure. All right, officially 10 seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, count of 3, you guys will all share it with the audience, all right? 1, 2, 3. Wow! We have some artists here. That's awesome. All right. So, hands up for cricket. For Jennie. I love that. That's awesome. For Michaela. You. Yeah. Jennie. And Olivia. Well, it looks like you guys all won, so congratulations. I will say I played this in all the panels and so the lesson here was basically, guys, that you need animators, you need artists, you need creators, and you need voice actors to bring it all to life. So that's seriously the lesson here. So round of applause one more time.
Nobody would animate. Look at her mouth. She looks like she threw up. She's like, zoom out.
Absolutely. So one last thing I do have for you guys. It's a gift from.
A gift? Oh my gosh, they're so tiny. Wait, I think I know what this is. Yes. What'd you get? You got eyebrow? Did you get an eyebrow?
Awesome. So
I got an Ozai. What do I call him? The king of getting his butt whooped? Is that what I say? Yeah.
I got Uncle Iroh. I got Jow.
Jow. Ooh. Thank you. The little mini Funkos. And these will be in the museum downtown.
We got to draw and we got presents and
all
we got
right.
to talk.
Okay. So we have
So
times for one or two questions. Come on up.
Brandon!
You girls know me as Brandon.
Hi, Brandon.
Hey, my question is, how does it feel to voice badass females in the shows?
Very natural. I mean, I think most women I know are pretty badass. I feel like that's the norm. I feel like TV maybe made that seem like it's not the norm. Oh yeah. Oh cute.
Great answer.
No,
That is right. That is no longer something to strive to. I think it's the norm. But I love that because you're right. Because maybe it wasn't right. I remember growing up watching like Scooby Doo and Richie Rich and like some of these really weird 80s cartoons, and I was like, eh. We did have Wonder Woman. Yeah, it was badass, but she had superpowers. Yeah, but so maybe that's changing.
Awesome. All right. So one more question, guys.
Thank you for my kitty laugh.
My name is Amy. My question is, if you had a chance to play somebody else, who would you play?
I would play Azula because I like playing villains. It's very fun.
Don't you dare steal Azula from me. You know I want to be Azula. We all just want to be Azula.
I don't want to be
No,
Azula.
I want to be Tylee. You're banished. Jennie, you're banished. Michaela, you're also banished. Cricket, you're banished.
Dare you? I want to be Tylee because she's so different from me. It's like I want to try. I want to be like, your hair is so pink or whatever. It would hurt to do it, but it would be fun and worth
It's
it.
so weird. So many people tell me it hurts them to do a high-pitched voice.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I could do that forever, but like a deep voice hurts me.
Yeah, right.
Texture, doing what you do, my voice would be gone in a day. It'd be gone.
Well, I can't do it for 8 hours. I mean, that's true.
But it ripped me apart. Like, it would. I'm torn between, honestly, Tylee and Azula, I feel like are such fun characters. I'm torn between who I would want to play between those two.
But dude, but
she's
the
so
Zuko
fun.
would be really fun. And I could do that. I could do that. I could be like, that's real funny. I could do that.
Awesome. All right, do we have another question?
Duel, Agni Kai, right now. I'm just kidding. Can we just take a moment to appreciate this guy's Earth Kingdom drip right now? He looks freaking...
Got an Avatar tattoo. I see all these tattoos. Yeah, he's got an Avatar tattoo.
He's got a top earring. The beard is crispy. Like, it just, everything is amazing.
Avatar earrings. What's up, bro? What's your question?
My name is Patrick. My question is actually when playing Korra, how was it to bridge the gap between knowing the first Avatar and trying to pick it back up?
Terrifying. No, I mean, look, I think I started getting comfortable with the amount of hate Korra gets maybe like a year ago. Before that, I was like, this crushes my heart. Like, I'm a real person and I identify with Korra, and I didn't know how bad it was. And then every person who comes to my table, and I love you guys, but everyone has to be like, so what does it feel like to have everyone hate you? Is that hard? So, but I'm at the point now where I'm like, you know what? Give me the underdog every time. If someone asked me, you can give up this and play any other character, when I think about the amount of women of color who have come up to me and talked about Korra's fierceness, the people who have come up to me and said I came out to my parents through Korra, people who said I went to serve in the military and I came back and I'm better because of Korra, I would never, millions of people could tell me to go die. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, that's not what it's about, you know what I mean? It's about all the beauty that comes out of the Avatarverse. And also, anybody who hates on anything in the Avatarverse that much is getting it wrong. That's not what you're supposed to do.
Point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for that. That was amazing. Great question, by the way.
Great setup, man. Great. Short, possibly controversial. Honest opinion of the 2010 Abomination.
Wait, what'd you say?
Honest opinion of the 2010
Honest
Abomination.
opinion.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've still never seen it. One day I'm gonna
What are you
smoke a
talking
joint
about?
and I'm gonna watch
There is no movie. There's a movie?
Yeah.
There's a movie. There is no movie in Bossing Say. What are you talking about?
In my mind, that thing only happened so that Seychelle Gabriel could end up being a zombie, because she was in that thing.
We don't know what that is.
I don't remember that. One more.
She kept a banana.
That's great.
Okay, so I know one of you is the Avatar, but if each of you were the Avatar, what would be your weird animal combination companion?
Mine feels pretty obvious, since they taught me earthbending. But I guess if I were I don't know. Would I have something? I feel like I can't betray the. I think it has to be a vaginal, because otherwise, I don't know. Do you have one?
Can I make one up?
Yeah.
What about like a possum bat?
A possum bat.
There you go.
I mean, I feel like something would have
There you
to
go.
be a cricket just because I'd have to, but what would be a good cricket mashup? What do you think? What?
Cricket scorpion.
Oh, cricket lion. That's cute. Or my husband he's silver fox, so maybe I'd be a cricket fox.
Okay, I might if I was the Avatar, but I was also still blind. I would need someone to like fly me places if I needed to get like out and dodge quickly. Like Appa saved him about so many times, right? So I feel like if I mixed the badger like with like a phoenix, I don't know. I feel like that could be cool. If are they just elevate the badger a little bit.
That's awesome. All right. Any other questions? We'll take one last one.
Hello, ladies. My name is Amber. The question's for all of you. So, if there was a season 5 for Korra or a season 4 for Last Airbender, what would you like to see happen?
I mean, I feel like we're gonna kind of hopefully see that with the new animated movie that comes out at the beginning of next year. So I feel like that's probably what
Round of applause, everyone.
season 4. I'm not announcing that as new news. It's very much online. You can find it. But in I think January of next year is the proposed release date for I think what's the title of it? Is it just Avatar Aang? Is that the title of the movie? Yeah. So I think that's gonna kind of be your season 4-ish. It's kind of supposed to be between the original series and Korra, I think. It's when they're a little bit more grown up. But not too much more. So yeah, so I mean I just want to see Toph flirt. In action.
Yeah, more love.
I really want to see what that looks like. Does she just keep punching people in the shoulder and eventually it works for her? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I had 2 kids. So, spoiler, sorry, if you didn't watch Korra. So, yeah, I don't know.
Quick shout out to the amazing graphic novels and the comics, because that's one of the things that, you know, I know it's not the same, but it's such a wonderful experience getting to read those. And so, you know, I'm happy to say that like Turf Wars gives us, you know, the Korra Asami kiss, and it gives us the spirit world and all of that. So, and the same with Avatar, like The Promise, and you know, those books are gorgeous, and you really find out what happens to Zuko's mom in a big way, and all of that. But I would love to, so I think for me, and I think a lot of us feel this way too, it would be fun to go back, to dip back, like, what if season 4 of Avatar was like, you got to see Iroh as the Dragon of the West. Like, it was just like a full-on flashback season, you know? It might be kind of hard to watch, because he was so fierce and different. We have to see him go through his transformation, like, I would love that, you know? I would love to see season 5 of Korra would be like, it goes back to like Tenzin and Leigh when they were young and fighting all the time and in a relationship. Yeah.
That's awesome. Great question and great answer. Round of applause, everyone. All right, so we have just one last question, and that.
So my name's Andrew, and my big question is, for the Netflix live adaptation that happened, what is your impression of your own characters, and or what is your favorite moment from the live adaptation?
Okay.
What's the impression of our characters in the live action?
Yeah, which we didn't see.
Yeah, I mean, no, but he's talking about the TV show, right? Yeah, I mean, like, my thing, I've got opinions about that show, but, like, for me personally, I wish they stuck more to the script in terms of Leigh, because her and May are in the first season, but it comes off just as fan service. Because if you've never seen the animated series, you're like, who are these quiet girls that are just like following Azula around in weird outfits, right? Like, there's kind of no context for it. So I think the actors are really cute who they cast. But I think in terms of my character in particular, we just have to wait for season 2 to make it make sense. Because right now it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I was like, but this is weird because they're having May kind of Cowtown. I was like, that's not okay. But then I was like, dude, shut up. Because this show didn't know if it was getting greenlit for 2. So they had to cram everything in and hope. So they probably were like, let's just see what happens. They didn't give a lot of attention to that little scene or 2 scenes with Leigh and May. So I was a little like, ooh, I hope they change that up a little. I hope they give them nuance, because there wasn't a lot in that. But my favorite scene was with James when he says his famous line, "My cabbages!"
I will say, just based on my impression of the character, I think Suki is one of the best things about that show. And Marie's in, she's beautiful. So, as far as just trying to recreate certain things, of course, did I miss certain things about the storyline? Sure. The way that I have to look at it is, if I can separate myself and think of it as a standalone, I'm like, it's fine, you know what I mean? But it's hard when you know what the original is, and you can never really recreate the original. It's pretty tough, but I think she's probably one of the better things about that show.
I agree. Round of applause, everyone.
I'm not into it.
So seriously, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for everything you've ever done.
Thank you. It was a fun game. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to everyone here. Thank you, Denver.